Welcome to the Baby Metal Podcast. Hosting today is myself, Avenging Sevenfolds, and I'm joined by Grab Metal.
Hello.
Nebulous.
Hello.
Varz.
He was having internet problems, so.
There went Varz.
And Takumetal.
Oh.
Today is Wednesday, July 11th. We've got an array of interesting topics today. We've got the passing of BABYMETAL and BABYMETAL's birthdays. We've got the Metal Hammer World Cup. We've got the artwork and some content from the graphic novel Apocrypha. And finally, we've got the Amuse Shareholders Meeting. All right, so I think we'll just start off with probably my favorite topic, which is the passing of their birthdays. So, does anyone have anything to say?
Happy birthday, Yui and Moa. 19. Go out, have fun. I'm sure they did.
The old 19.
Isn't 19 in Japan like the legal age?
No, that's 20.
Oh, it's 20. Okay, so.
Right.
All right, so it's not as bad as America by 1 year.
That brings up an interesting point, though. You remember Sue Metal's coming of age marked that Legend S concert. I wonder if they're going to do something like that in the future for them.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And since their birthdays are so close together, maybe it'll be one spectacular event, for both.
I would see them doing that because they did the same thing with 97 and 99 where they celebrated the 15s. So
right.
I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'll just be pleasantly surprised.
When Sue Metal was singing Head of Bond, she changed the lyrics, right?
Yeah, she changed it to 20.
That's right. That's interesting.
No, that was really neat because I remember I was watching it with a few friends, and I was like, "Wait a second, something definitely changed."
Yeah, it almost goes unnotable, but you can kind of tell like something doesn't set right when she goes over the line. And I noticed that when I was watching the live stream. Did she say something different, or am I just hearing things?
I tend to sing along with all the songs. To me, it's like I've listened to them so many times, I just naturally start reciting it. And I was like, no, wait, some name right here.
Right. So we've got the artwork they posted for their birthdays, which I was pleasantly surprised to see Yui when they passed her birthday and they posted the picture. I think everyone kind of sighed a sigh of relief when that happened.
Yeah, that was definitely a collective sigh of relief. As Domar Kin says, the crowd also reacted to the changed lyrics. Yeah, everyone was just kind of like, oh, hello, something changed after a few years.
Right. Okay, so the Metal Hammer World Cup.
Yes.
So I can't say I'm surprised that BABYMETAL came out on top, but I was definitely surprised at some of the bands that they beat.
I actually am kind of surprised, to be quite honest, because some of the fan bases of some of the bands that were on that list, I mean, they're no small bands.
Right, and the margin that they won by on some of these bands is outrageous. I don't remember the specific margin for beating Avenged Sevenfold, but I'm sure it's no surprise to you guys that I love Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, I am Avenging Sevenfolds after all. So I don't remember what the margin was exactly, but I was a little bit disappointed in my fellow Deathbats that they turned out in such small numbers. Although, if I do admit myself, I voted for BABYMETAL, if it's any consolation.
Well, BABYMETAL didn't beat Avenged Sevenfold. They beat Within Temptation. Within Temptation beat Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh.
Avenged Sevenfold never made it out of the first round.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got the wrong idea there.
Yeah.
What's the name of that German band, though? I can't think of how to say it properly.
Rammstein?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't make it to the finals. I thought they were the ones that were going to win, actually.
I think what happened was some of the BABYMETAL fans got a little worried that if it was Rammstein that they wouldn't win. So they went and voted for Underside to beat Rammstein.
Right.
Oof.
You get the competition you want.
I can't comment on that. I'm just gonna leave it as I can't comment on that.
So Varz?
He is in text only at this point.
Yes. Okay. Grab?
Yes.
Any thoughts?
I think Rammstein's fan base is so old they don't know how to use the internet, so I don't know that it was really a fair fight.
True.
Well, they're slightly younger than the Iron Maiden fans, so that explains why they beat Iron Maiden.
There's just no competition for the rabid fan base that is us collectively.
That's not even a joke.
I won't dispute that. One thing, though, I was thinking about when they made it to the final round, I was wondering how many people who absolutely despise BABYMETAL, because we all know there's people out there like that.
Oh,
you know, the elitists. I was thinking and hoping not, but thinking that they might vote for Underside just to, you know, prove a point, just to get out their frustrations, I guess, to say.
And they did. They did. The margin of victory was like 9 points. It was like 59 to 41.
I still think that's pretty good, though. I still think it's pretty good that you know, the BABYMETAL fan base, however small it might be, that we're so rabid that we can take on probably a collective of all these other bands that were in here and still come out on top.
Can't stop the power.
You know,
no, you can't stop the power.
You know, that's the one thing that I don't want to say surprises me, because I'm trying to think, what if other bands, like, I know none of these people really consider them metal bands, but take, for example, like Korn or Linkin Park, because Linkin Park, for example, I know they're not metal now, was considered the first band to have its own website, to start to have a fan base. Like, could you imagine maybe how different it was if newer bands that had a fan base that was mostly internet, how would that have changed the outcome, let's say, of this?
Well, I think it would have been closer.
Yeah, some of them, because BABYMETAL beat Immortal by like 90 points. So, yeah, I think it would have been a little closer, but I think we still would have come out on top.
You know, we'll see what happens if everything is still around in 4 years when they do it again.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if there are new younger bands that are in the mix, just to get a more reasonable comparison. Because a lot of these bands have way bigger fan bases, but aren't nearly as dedicated and spend as much time online as the BABYMETAL fan base. So,
yeah,
Varz.
They
have real lives.
Varz pointed out something. He's posted a tweet in the chat room from Metal Hammer saying, if you spend your time on the internet moaning that BABYMETAL wins everything, now is your chance to stop them. Wow.
It looks like they did a wonderful job.
They tried. If you look at the tweet announcing that BABYMETAL won, that Metal Hammer put out, the metal elitists and the purists and the vanguard were all up in there saying that, you know, this is the death of heavy metal, and this is a joke, and why did you pick this band, and all this other stuff. And the simple answer is, if you vote for the band you like, then you've got a shot at it.
Right.
You know, that reminds me, I forgot who said it. I think it was Ozzy Osbourne. Someone asked him, after metal went back from being mainstream to underground, they asked him, oh, is metal dead? And his answer was, metal was never alive to begin with.
Interesting.
Ooh, that's really deep from Ozzy.
That is really deep. I'm not sure if it was exactly from Ozzy. Someone in the chat room, if they wish to correct me if they know. But I think it was Ozzy that he said no, that metal was never alive to begin with. So to all these people saying, metal is dead, well, it was never alive to begin with.
Is Ozzy in one of those photographs with BABYMETAL? Is he one of the people that's been photographed with them? Because I really like that.
I haven't seen one.
I think you are thinking to Rob Zombie.
No, I was just wondering. I've seen Rob Zombie with them. Have y'all seen the Twitter argument? Rob Zombie posted something on Twitter with them, and his fans, you know, metal elitist fans were like, Rob Zombie, how could you associate yourself with this joke of a band? And then he proceeds to roast his fans about how talented they are.
Murdered by words.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
That's still one of the the top post in gatekeeping on Reddit, I think, right?
Yeah, of all time, I think. Yeah, for gatekeeping. Varz says, remember, guys, we won the most dedicated fans award.
That's true. You got a point.
That is very true.
All right, so now let's proceed a little bit. So we had a big release recently of the artwork for the graphic novel.
Woo!
Everyone on Reddit loved it. Personally, I think it's gorgeous. I really just want to talk about it for a minute, so I'll just go down the list real quick. Grab, what did you think of it?
I think it's awesome. I think the book is going to confuse me and leave me with more questions when I'm done reading it, but purely from an artistic standpoint, it's going to be really fun just to look through all the artwork.
Neb, what about you?
I am in love with the art style. I have to 100% agree with Grab that this is going to confuse practically everyone on planet Earth. I already saw that coming, but the art direction and even just with how, receptive that the artist is and the author for this, it's something I can't wait for.
Taku, what did you have to think about it?
I like it. I've liked everything that's come out so far. We had the one where they're standing at the monuments, and then we had the one with the vulture god, and now we have this iteration of the fox god as a plant. And I think the lore that's in it is going to be off the wall, metaphysical, just nuts.
Right.
The artwork is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm loving what I see. The cover kind of reminds me of almost like, like a video game concept art when they're teasing it. And it's one of those, you see the artwork and you just get excited, and I'm really excited for it.
I really hope it's not like, because remember video games back in the early 2000s where the trailer was like this high def 3D, super ultra quality, but once you got the game, it was about as pixelated as ever. but as Taku is saying in the chat, the art that has been released is interior art, not covers.
Right, and we were discussing this a little bit earlier, talking about how I think there's been a lot of bands and outside of music, just a lot of artists who try to take whatever their talent is and put it into different fields. So maybe a music artist trying to make like a TV show or like a short film or something, and it doesn't go too well. But I think with BABYMETAL, they have so much support behind them with Amuse, however much you might hate Amuse. They're good at, getting the right people to do the job. And so I think that it's going to turn out spectacular.
Definitely. But actually, to go along with that I was actually just saying, I think it was yesterday that one of my favorite bands, Slipknot, one of the drummers there that basically built the whole band, Clown, actually directed a movie. And I was thinking, well, if this guy could build a band from scratch, how well could this movie be? I would imagine it'd be awesome. And it was like a 2.5 out of 10 star rating on IMDb. I was so disappointed. But Amuse is generally very good, as you said, finding the right people. But it's just a matter of executing it properly, which I will say, at least for the graphic novel, they are.
All right, well, let's progress to probably my most anticipated topic, which is the shareholder meeting.
Whew.
So I think there might be maybe an audible shudder from everyone there when I say that, but
buckle in, boys.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting things to read here. So all we have is a very amateur Google translation of it because we can't get any kind of super accurate translation of the Japanese to English. But we'll make do with what we're given. So we have probably the most important question, where is Yui? And to sum it up, they basically said Yui's recovering.
Fair enough.
So if I can locate exactly what they said, maybe we can go more in depth at it. That's first question that they asked?
I think that was 7.
Okay, so here it is. So question 7, and this is, again, a pretty rough translation from Japanese to English, but I'll read what's given. Question 7 poses, about the Yui medal of BABYMETAL, although it suffers, question 7 months have passed since the absence of Hiroshima, in December. Abroad, the tour, she was also absent. I think that you know that rough in Twitter, the present situation, why. Yeah, this is a very rough translation. Basically, it's asking, please tell the reason why there's no formal announcement from Amuse regarding her condition or her whereabouts or anything. And the answer, and I'll try and read this as best as I can. They say that she's absent due to poor physical condition in December. Official comments from the company about the future of individual artists are not in past or future when you can expect. It can be said reliably that Yui's physical condition is recovering. She is still enrolled in Amuse. So she's still, you know, property of Amuse. She's still associated with them. She's just recovering.
See,
that's the gist of it.
See, to me, it's like, I don't know how much worse of a PR nightmare you can make it with that statement. Oh yeah, she's still a part of Amuse. Why can't you just say still a part of BABYMETAL? What's difficult?
I don't know. All I like to say, and that I've been saying, you know, since the whole fallout, is that they simply could have avoided it if they just told everyone when the tour was starting. Because the biggest thing that struck with me was that they sold everyone tickets to see BABYMETAL, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure everyone will agree with me. What we got was amazing, and I loved every minute of it. But because it was such a surprise, I think it just kind of rubbed everyone the wrong way, especially at first, and it frustrated a lot of people.
Don't forget episode 1 of the podcast. We interviewed the dads. To me, that's still heartbreaking. It's like if that is literally the equivalent to if I went to a Linkin Park concert and Mike Shinoda wasn't there.
Yeah, it's just that's like the one thing that you shouldn't do is just if you're in that situation and you don't tell anyone, you can't not expect the people who just, you know, love and breathe BABYMETAL to be outraged.
Could you think maybe it could be because they don't know how to deal with an American audience? I think we talked about that.
I think maybe that could have some part to do with it, but I don't think that's why they didn't say anything, because they would know. I don't know how oblivious you'd have to be to know that people aren't going to get outraged if you don't tell them, especially when you're selling them tickets and some people are spending hundreds of dollars displacing themselves miles and miles from their home to go see BABYMETAL, and then one of the people that they love isn't there, you know? So but I don't think that's the case. They're definitely anticipating the fallout from it. I don't think they might have realized how bad the fallout was going to be, or how.
Well, just think of this: if 5B, the U.S. A&R company, hadn't come out and said that Yui was still part of the band and she was not going to be on the tour, if they hadn't said that, imagine how much worse it would have been.
I have to agree with you there.
No, without a doubt, if they didn't say anything, Amuse would be suffering a lot. But wasn't one of the questions about the state of the PR and their way of handling this?
Well, I think their PR is 100% BABYMETAL. I don't know how much shade you can really throw at Amuse, because I think it's been pretty clear that he has the reins and all of the power and can do whatever he wants, and Amuse just kind of stays out of the way.
Sometimes it's okay to be cryptic. You know, you can say we're doing this in different dimensions and all that stuff, but sometimes you just have to come out and say what is. Right. And they didn't do that, and that's what caused all the problem.
And after everyone was shouting out their name and calling them out, they still weren't doing it, and I feel like that's just insult to injury.
And they still haven't. Amuse, BABYMETAL, they have said nothing. It came from 5B, and that's the one statement we got.
As Paul says here, I don't buy it at all. Amuse is not suffering, and they would be suffering if 5B hadn't talked. So that's true. And also, Orion says they said they were experimenting with the lineup, which is also probably not exactly true, which I agree with.
Yeah, I don't think they were experimenting with a lineup. I think that might have been a last-ditch effort to try and save what was already on its way out, you know? When BABYMETAL got into her condition, they were trying to salvage the tour. So they just threw in some people and said that, well, I guess they'll have to like it.
Yeah, if that's your mentality with anything, I mean, in the music world, it's a really risky move to do that, but it has to be with good reason.
I was going to say it's extremely risky, and you're dealing with something that's such a unique thing that we have, baby metal. There's not really anything else like it out there. So if you change that and you expect everyone to accept it, you're wrong, because not everyone's going to accept it. Some people are going to hate it. And I'm sure there's people out there who really hated it, who said this isn't baby metal, and either stop listening or just stop paying attention right now. And I mean, they can't really get those people back because those people know what they want, and not telling everyone was, I feel, the biggest mistake, because you're just selling people something and then delivering something else.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, but what else did we get out of that shareholder meeting?
Well,
we got a few.
We've got some questions. They're asking, let's see, a lot of stuff that has to do more with the other artists under Amuse. There was a question about SG, about the discovery and expansion of artists. A child who wants to be a singer-songwriter appeared at Sakura Gakuen. When such people come out, will they be brought up in parallel? I'm not sure. That's a pretty rough translation.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Total context.
They answered by saying SG is active only for elementary and junior high students. Graduates from SG with junior high school graduates gives us an option as what to do at the time of graduation, and our company is supporting them. It is the form of SG in order to discover new talents. I feel like they're probably just asking what they're doing or what their goals are or something like that.
Actually, this brings up a really good question, actually, now that I think about it. So basically, in a nutshell, in case people don't know what SG is, basically that is where Sue, Moa, and Yui came from. It's as Benjing said, it was a school which I think it's, what was it, from kindergarten to high school or something like that, you said?
Just like a Japanese equivalent.
Middle school.
Yeah, but basically it's teaching you to be pop stars or whatever it is.
To grow into super women, as the president says.
Yeah, and so Sue graduated. As for Yui and Moa, I'm not 100%, but if and when they do, what effect, if any, have that on the band?
All three girls graduated.
They did?
SG ends in middle school for them.
Right, and Sue graduated in 2012, and Yui and Moa in 2014.
Correct.
Darth is gonna kill me later for this.
Yeah, maybe working back from that question, not to spend too much time on this. Maybe that guy was asking if they were considering older talent for SG, including high school.
Right.
Just because part of the answer said it's for middle school and below.
So here's an interesting question that I think I passed over on the first time. The fifth question they asked: how does the president and producer recognize the current situation where baby metal is? Sorry. Do you feel that baby metal is facing a crisis? The crisis of baby metal is the future of Muse, I think. Rough translation there. What do you think about the future of baby metal, they asked?
So, actually, this is at least my thoughts, is that baby metal is clearly their biggest project. This is the one bringing in the most revenue, hands down.
Doesn't Amuse have Perfume?
Yeah. And they have One OK Rock.
And One OK Rock, yeah. No.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's a lot of artists.
Baby metal does. I don't think they even cracked the top 10 in Amuse's revenues.
Well, maybe if you only look internationally, One OK Rock and Perfume don't have nearly the footprint that baby metal does in North America. And
I don't
Europe.
think we can dispute that they're a large source of profit and a source of success for Amuse.
I do think they're probably Amuse's #1 property for North America and Europe, though.
Oh, I would hands down agree with that.
Yeah. So then let me rephrase it as, this is the most revenue they get from other countries, as in Europe and America, and where they really got their feet in the ground. But at this, so they have to take notice that something's going on. But from what I'm seeing is that I think everyone's starting to calm down as a fan base, because we're more of like, okay, we kind of know what's happening with Yui, but we don't. Literally, our only choice is to wait and see.
Well, that brings to an interesting point. Question 8 is the third question they asked about BABYMETAL. The question was about BABYMETAL. The BABYMETAL is a main force for overseas business for Amuse, but now live and abroad is different from the conventional one. Many fans miss the three BABYMETAL. Yui Metal is okay. This is a very rough translation, but basically it says, you know, please tell me whether BABYMETAL is going to return. And they answered saying, BABYMETAL is changing the number of members as Chapter 7 in reference to Metal Resistance Episode 7. I think that I want to challenge that kind of thing, but I do not necessarily get this form everlasting. So basically saying they're trying something new. It's not permanent.
Yeah, I think, we've had this discussion before. I think they just needed to come up with something to account for Yui being injured or sick or whatever happened to her back at Legend S. And this is what they came up with. And Amuse, the board is just, I don't know, holding up the lore, I guess.
Yeah,
a little bit.
They're just going with what's out there.
Yeah.
Well, why can't I help but to think they're all there in a meeting, and they just go, well, hey, so Yui Metal's not gonna be able to make it. What should we do? One guy goes, well, maybe we should just make an announcement, let everybody know, and we'll send in some backup dancers. Yeah, okay. Well, Koba, what's your idea? We're going to make 7 people. We're going to make it crazy. We're going to make an apocalypse. Great idea.
So would you guys like to take a moment and talk about the BABYMETAL Death official Fox apparel?
No, I'm not spending $500 on an outfit.
Has anyone's wallet taken a look at that? Because mine is really
no.
I took one look at that website and the a very steep price and said, that's one thing I can do without.
Yeah, I had the same
and,
reaction.
I mean, coming from someone who wants to collect everything, I you know, maybe when I win the lottery, but
let's be quite honest. Tearing up your fan base over one issue, and then we all know that, you know, they're always with overpricing, but with this level of overpricing at this point in the fan base, what are they smoking?
I think Orion Quest said it best. No one wants to see anybody in those leggings.
Oh my God.
With the level of overpricing that we've seen, I'm kind of surprised that the merchandise that it sold on tour wasn't so overpriced. That's what I was worried about. Yeah, I'm happy that they released it, you know, beforehand, so we could all know how much it was going to cost.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fair.
I don't know. I bought a $15 keychain, so.
Yeah, I did too.
Holy crap, $15 keychain.
But did you get the dad hat?
No, I didn't, and I kind of regret it.
Hat.
Oh, one job.
Well, it's all up on the UK store now, right? So.
And supposedly the US has a store too. I haven't really looked at it because I'm not in that financial league.
Yep.
Well, does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up today? Anyone in the Discord, if you have any ideas, just post it in the chat room.
That's really all I got.
Grab, you got any input?
No, I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. This was episode Yon.
Yon.
See you next time.
Yon.
Was it? I thought we were on episode 5.
No, this is episode Yon.
Yep.
Yon.
All right.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your input. We'll see you in the next episode.
Oh, and Varz says bye too.
See you.
See you.
This is BABYMETAL Podcast signing off.